The desire to hold individuals accountable for their actions is both reasonable and necessary, especially in discussions around relationships, marriage, and social behavior. It's true that toxicity exists in both men and women, and these individuals can indeed tarnish the ideals of love, trust, and commitment. The tendency to lump individual behavioral issues, such as the dynamics of a toxic relationship, into broader societal narratives, like the struggles of minority groups, is a significant misstep. This conflation between personal failures and systemic issues leads to dangerous oversimplifications and often perpetuates stereotypes that can obscure real, meaningful progress. Historically, the conflation of individual and group accountability has had damaging effects. For instance, during the civil rights movement in the United States, there were numerous instances where individual acts of crime or misbehavior by African Americans were used to justify widespread racial stereotypes. The infamous superpredator myth in the 1990s, which portrayed young black men as inherently violent, is one example. This narrative, fueled by media and political rhetoric, led to harsh sentencing laws and increased incarceration, disproportionately affecting black communities. The actions of a few individuals were generalized to an entire group, obscuring the systemic issues of poverty, discrimination, and underfunded education that were the true underlying causes of crime in these communities. From a psychological perspective, the human brain is wired to categorize and generalize, a cognitive shortcut known as stereotyping. While this is an efficient way to process information, it often leads to erroneous assumptions when applied to complex social issues. In 1996, social psychologist Susan Fiske demonstrated through her research that people tend to apply stereotypes more readily when faced with anxiety or uncertainty. This suggests that in times of social tension, we are more likely to lump together individuals and apply their behaviors to a broader group. In the context of relationships, if one experiences a toxic partner, it becomes tempting to generalize that all men or women share similar traits, but this oversimplifies the complexity of human behavior and denies the nuances that exist between individuals and groups. Studies highlight that toxic behaviors, such as manipulation, control, or abuse, exist across genders and social groups. A 2020 study by the National Domestic Violence Hotline found that approximately 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner violence. These figures show that toxic behavior is not the exclusive domain of one gender but a widespread issue. However, conflating individual toxic actions with the struggles of minority groups does not address the systemic factors that shape different experiences, such as racial discrimination, economic inequality, or historical oppression. Common sense tells us that discussing complex social issues on a case-by-case basis is more productive than relying on stereotypes. By examining individual actions within their specific contexts, we can better address the root causes of behavior without falling into the trap of generalization. A toxic relationship is not a reflection of an entire gender, just as the struggles of minority groups cannot be reduced to the actions of a few individuals. While it is crucial to hold individuals accountable for their actions, it is equally important to avoid conflating personal failings with systemic issues. Toxic behavior in relationships should be addressed, but it should not be confused with the dynamics of group struggles, as these are often rooted in entirely different causes. By recognizing the difference between individual actions and collective struggles, we can foster more productive discussions, avoid harmful stereotypes, and approach social issues with the nuance they deserve.